7 reasons why farmers are pursuing water treatment. And this is true of agribusinesses specifically. However, I guess the same principles could apply if you're in a remote place as well. But I'm just looking at some of the drivers and the potential value adds of adopting this water treatment technology, and you can make up your own mind. So the most common one I see is the desire to have water security, whether that's drought proofing your farm, whether it's making sure that the homestead has potable water. You know, the most expensive loss you can ever incur in a business is getting divorced. Say goodbye to half your wealth. You want to make sure that you have a garden and a nice home for your wife. And that's honestly one of the key reasons why a lot of farmers I've dealt with actually pursue this technology. But water security for the animals and the business is reducing that risk profile is so important. Number 2, drought resilience. It's true for the land. It's true for a long-term business model, particularly in the Pacific Island communities. You know, a string of dry years can be crippling. And in a business where it's harder and harder to maintain your margins, how important it is to have a resilient water strategy. Number 3, saving time. One of the things I saw in the last 3 years here in Western Australia is we had this string of dry years, and the water that was being supplied by the government was just not, A, there was not enough, and B, by the time it got to some of these really remote communities, the costs just went through the roof. They were charging, you know, $13 a kiloliter in some places. And the government and the farmers would have to truck in truckloads of water, carting water. Very, very expensive exercise. And it can take a lot of time versus having an on-site automated system that is going to produce water regardless of the rainfall. The 4th reason, and look, this is the one where I think it's going to be a growing area of research, and it's probably my favorite area, but I wish I could put some better numbers to it, is the improved chemical efficacy as a result of using high quality water in your spraying. So whether it's for broad acre spraying, where we're looking at Roundup effectiveness and how readily the plant will actually absorb the chemicals, or we're looking at the growth of avocados, and the difference of that slight change in salt content in the water can have a very significant impact on yield. So the importance of water quality in plant growth and chemical effectiveness is a massive area, but something that needs to be explored on a case-by-case basis. But, you know, if you can improve your chemical efficacy by 1%, 2%, 3%, 10%, the effect that could have to your bottom line could be huge. Number 5, new business opportunities. You know, where I talked about the feedlot earlier in our original client, Kristen Lefroy, but in the case of one of our other clients who runs a piggery, because he knows he has that sustainable water supply now, just by using the groundwater assets, he's got about 6 or 7 different bores he runs into his membrane desalination unit. And through that system, he knows I can reliably sustain this amount of stock. And potentially by blending the water up, I know that in the future, I can sustainably take on this amount of livestock. And so it actually allows for a level of forward planning. I've had some clients talk about irrigation opportunities with center pivots by using the groundwater. And there's some people really getting innovative with what can be done with this technology. So on the one side of the conversation, we have risk mitigation, thinking about how we can reduce the downside in the business if there's a case of a dry year. But on the other hand, it's, wow, what if I could make the land that I do have more productive? For our client in South Australia, his primary driver for getting the unit, he got quite a large system, was he thought, rather than buying new property where land prices are going up, what if I could suddenly get 2, 3, 4 times more output out of the land that I do have? Food for thought. Number 6, savings on water. For larger systems, if you're producing enough megaliters of water, you might find that the cost of the water coming out of the plant is cheaper than what can be provided from the government scheme pipes. I know that's certainly true here in Western Australia, but again, is something where you really have to run the business case. Number 7, making water sources potable. And this is really it, the ability to go, what water assets do I have on my property? And if I can get them tested, whether it's our MORC water analysis test or some other more primitive tests or just handheld instruments, if I could measure what was wrong with my water and work out what needed to be done, then suddenly every water source on my property is now a potential asset. And I think it's a bit of a paradigm shift for how water has been viewed previously, where there's a heavy reliance on dams. And as you know, researchers will tell you, Richard George from DPIRD, which is the Department of Primary Industries and Planning, Resource Development, he actually said that over 90% of the dams here in Western Australia are unreliable. And I don't imagine it's too different across the rest of the country and even globally. So this technology and the application of water treatment agriculture is actually a relatively new thing. And so I think we're seeing some early adoption of it now, but I definitely think it's the trajectory we're going on. And in fact, I've seen entire businesses that are built around bore water. I've seen a 180,000 tree orchard built off 3 high-yielding bores. I've seen an intensive blueberry operation built off 1 key bore. So if you can fix any kind of water quality, now we're just looking for quantity of water. So I'm excited about what we're going to see in that space in the years to come. And hopefully you're one of those innovative business owners who decides to go, actually, what can I do with the water assets on my property? With all the systems, with all that being said, it is a considerable investment. If we're looking at a water treatment system, you're looking at the container, the system itself, the piping, the other tanks involved, the solar bore pumps, drilling bores themselves. It's not something you want to do on a whim. It's something that you want to think about very carefully. But what we've done with our clients, because we know we have such a high quality product, we're willing to offer an out-of-pocket guarantee. And what I mean by that is we're willing to do fixed rate servicing for our clients. And if ends up costing us more because something goes wrong with the machine, we'll cover it. We've never had a project that's failed. We love having happy customers. And it's our way of giving you peace of mind, knowing that, hey, I know how much everything's going to cost me for this period of time. And really, this is what it's about. It's about water security. It's about peace of mind. And we want to give you the best possible offer and would love the opportunity to work for you. So that's our out-of-pocket guarantee. Take the risk off the table. And again, if you're looking at exploring a water treatment opportunity, the best thing you can do is to book a free water strategy meeting with myself, particularly if you want to talk about agriculture. And I'm happy to bounce ideas with you, talk about your specific situation and what I might recommend. It's not a sales conversation. If you are interested in pursuing an opportunities like this, it's going to be a series of conversations. It's got to be quite a bit of planning. And look, I don't want to waste your time. I don't really want to waste my time if you're not interested. So it's really a way for me to generate goodwill with people. And if you do decide that it's a good fit, us working together, then that's an ongoing conversation we can have. So please take me up on the opportunity. Go to morkwater.com.au, our home website, and you'll see a tab that says free water strategy meeting. Follow the instructions and you can book a call with me, either on the phone or we can chat over Zoom like on this webinar. Lastly, I'm just going to open up to some questions and comments. I'm going to quickly go through the ones I saw in the chat as we go along. Kind of scribbled down a few notes. My contact details are on the screen. You can call my mobile, but the best thing to do is book a water strategy meeting, and I can guarantee that I'll get back to you and you'll have my full attention. But again, feel free to send me a message or send me an email. Question number 1 I got, doesn't water treatment, particularly desalination, use a lot of power? I get this one quite a lot. The answer is it depends. If you're treating hypersaline water, so seawater and even saltier than sea, it will require more power because the high pressure pumps used to run those systems, producing 40, 50, 60 bar, it's a lot of energy. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not as much as you may have traditionally thought. Desalination technology has come a long way. The other treatment systems I showed you, the batch flocculation units, the flow disinfection units, ion removal systems, they use considerably less energy. It's almost negligible. So really, I guess that's just a misconception, or at least it was true 30 years ago, but not now. How much water can you recover? There's nuance to that question. The answer is it depends. I have actually got an FAQ video on YouTube you could watch where I go into more detail with this, but really that's one of the numbers that we can manipulate. There are some limitations, but sometimes We've designed systems to recover up to 95% of the water. Sometimes it makes more sense to just recover 50, or with some of our international seawater projects, we recover just 12%, because then we can make sure the discharge isn't too different, the effluent isn't too different to the original water. It really depends on a number of variables, but just so you know, it can be really high, it can be low. We just try to find what's best for that specific situation. Is there a limit? Is there a limit in capacity and water quality? In water quality, we can treat anything. We generally steer away from sewage. We like to treat naturally occurring water. Just makes it a little bit more straightforward and less expensive. But pretty much anything's treatable. If there's uranium in the water, if there's water that's 3 times saltier than the sea, it's all doable. Whether or not it's cost effective and what you're going to do with the discharge, which does need to be managed, then there's a number of solutions. On the topic of managing the discharge, again, I have a FAQ video on that on YouTube you can watch, where I talk about a number of common solutions that are implemented. Again, it's really just a matter of what's going to be the strategy you choose for your situation, because if people are telling you that you can clean water up without there being any kind of waste, it's just shenanigans. They're pulling your leg, because they're not, you've got to take something out of the water if you're going to clean it. And that stuff you take out, you got to put somewhere, whether it's a liquid or a solid, it may depend, but there will always be some kind of waste product or concentrate. Life expectancy of the units. Look, I would say upwards of 10 years for everything we build. Definitely not true of what else is out there on the market, but we build our units to last. But the question is more like life expectancies, like how long will your car last? Depends on the brand you get, but it also depends on how much you drive it, how you look after the machine. Are you servicing it? Are you doing the logbook? If all those things are done, if we have remote monitoring, if we keep on top of things, then the systems can last a long, long time. So this is a long-term solution, a long-term investment. And that's really what it's about. It's about reducing risk over the long term. Like you know, if you come into a market, if you get into cryptocurrency, it's pretty easy to make money when everything's going well. Or in farming, if you have a series of years, you're end to end, and then you have 3 amazing years of growth, it's easy to make money. But it's when things get hard that it becomes important to make wise investment decisions. And that's really where something like water treatment fits into the big picture. Financing options. We offer different payment options. You can get finance on our units, whether it's a lease agreement, a payment plan. We can be flexible with things like deposits or that sort of thing. It really just depends on what's going to be a win-win. So yeah, finance options are available. All right, well, I've got to head off to my next meeting, but hey, thanks for joining me on the call today. If you do have any more questions, and sorry, I think there's 1 or 2 more there I didn't get to. I'll just send you an email and contact you later separately, but please write to me at curtis@morkwater.com.au. The other best thing you can do is I'll try and get that webpage back up. Book a water strategy meeting with me. If I upload this video, depending on where, I might include a link somewhere on the webpage too. But if you want to find a solution fit for purpose for your situation, the best thing you can do, jump on one of those calls with me. If you're interested in this stuff, I'll make sure it's worth your while, and hopefully I can provide you with a lot of value and maybe inspire you to want to work together with us down the line. So again, thanks for your time. I appreciate you coming onto the call. If you're watching a recording of this, same applies to you. Please book a water strategy meeting with me. Thanks.